Here we have Tracey from the Perth Convention Bureau. Tracey, welcome to Business Events TV.
Hi there, how you going?
Good, thanks. Now, tell me what's happening in Perth.
Everything is happening in Perth right now. It's going to be the place to be. By the end of this year, 2015, we're going to see the completion of a $2.6 billion project called Elizabeth Quay. Amazing for Perth. The idea behind it is reconnecting the beautiful Swan River with our city. So where else there was a disjoint before, now it's going to be one with beautiful open spaces, new hotels, a new cultural centre, a beautiful new water park. It's going to be the place to hang out in Perth.
And obviously very good for the business events traveller.
Yeah, so for Elizabeth Quay, what does that mean to the business events industry? It means more beautiful open spaces, more unique spaces to hold your event. We all know that there's some fabulous venues in Perth where you can hold an indoor event, but really when you come to Perth and you have this amazing weather, this great sunshine and these beautiful open spaces, wouldn't you want to be holding your event in one of those new spanky places outside? You would.
Yeah, there you go. And is the mining still popular in that part of the world?
Of course. I mean, mining is a large part of what we do in WA. It is a key resource for us, and that's always going to be the case. Yes, it does impact sometime on availability of our venues, and we've seen in the past it has impacted on our venues because, of course, the mining industry tends to use up a lot of that daytime space. But because of the way that Perth has evolved and is evolving, we're going to see 6 new hotel builds, the expansion of the Crown facility to include almost doubling the size of their convention space, and providing much more choice and maybe some competitive pricing for the future for Perth because of the new infrastructure coming online and the property is going to be becoming available to us.
And is more of your conference and incentive business coming from offshore or the East Coast?
Oh, I think it's a fair mix of national business from across Australia and, of course, international. For us, international business comes predominantly from Asia because of our close proximity. So from Malaysia, from Singapore, from Thailand and Indonesia would be key markets for us, as well as obviously New Zealand's actually a fairly good market for us, and UK, Europe.
And have you won any big bids lately?
We're always winning big bids in WA. I'd like to think that we punch above our weights, really, in that respect. The biggest event for us, of course, coming up in 2016 will be LNG. You talked about the resource sector. That's exactly what LNG is. So LNG is a huge event. We've been working on it for a number of years, and it'll have a huge impact on the city. What people forget when they're talking about conferences, it's not just the initial economic impact of what's going to happen in the here and now with events on the ground, but the longevity and the legacy that that event will leave for years to come.
And the LNG conference is obviously quite big. What impact do you think it'll have on the local businesses?
Oh, huge. It'll be, I guess, the likes of something similar that's happened in recent years. In 2011, we saw CHOGM come to Perth. CHOGM was, I think, around 3,500 delegates with media and entourage. It was around 5,000, and it took over most of the hotel rooms. It took over lots of restaurants. LNG will be around 3,500 people, but of course there's always other things that flow on. Huge exhibition component with LNG. Alone there'll be 16 sponsored corporate dinners over 2 days, and that's just the sponsors element. So a lot of those big venues that are looking to, for their clients to wow, so the sponsors will be looking to take out those types of venues in Perth. So it's going to be great for the businesses.
It's fantastic. And tell me, what does business events mean to you?
As I was sort of alluding to before, obviously business events is what we do at the Perth Convention Bureau, so we are securing conferences, exhibitions and incentive travel. But it is more than the economic impact and filling the hotels, which obviously is paramount for us, and filling the venues. But the legacies it leaves behind, the knowledge sharing that we do, and exposure of not just the business events community, but of our whole state to the leisure industry as well.
And where do you think business events will be in 5 years' time?
In Perth predominantly. I'd say hopefully it'll help put us on the map, what's happening in Perth now, the building of Elizabeth Quay, all the new infrastructure that's going on. People will start to sit up and notice that WA isn't that place over the other side of Australia, it isn't so far away. It's actually got great connections, air links to Western Australia. It's probably one of the most diverse states in Australia, with something for everybody, beautiful greenery of down south, hot tropical climates of the north, and a bustling, vibrant city.
And I understand the Variety Bash is heading over to Perth this year.
Yes, apparently I think that's going to have a huge impact on the city as well. So everybody's obviously learning that it's obviously one of the best states to come, and hopefully heading way to WA.
Yeah, they're heading down to Margaret River, and then I think they're heading up the Broome.
Yeah, I think for touring components like that, it does really, really well. We've secured in the last few years some great touring type elements. Ulysses was one that we secured about 2-3 years ago. That Ulysses is a motorbike club and they have an annual event, and that attracted about 2,000 delegates, and they toured all over the southwest region. So we love touring events like that.